police officers slash investigators etc. What are your holy shit, this criminal is smart moments? A few years back, my elderly neighbor's home robbed. Her husband had just passed away, and the obituary was in the paper with showing times and time the burial ceremony was to start. These lowlifes looked up her husband's address in the phone book and knew exactly what time their house would be unoccupied. They took absolutely everything of value from this lady on the day she was putting her husband in the ground. And they never caught them. Yep. That's why we made certain to remove my dad's guns, like 100 handguns slash rifles. Generations of hunters whose collections got passed down, so there were quite a few. Lock up the valuables, and take the key we always hid to the deadbolts for the handyman to use. And change the alarm code. Said handyman was caught trying to gain access through a window, while we were having a funeral. He really wanted this, that and the other thing, that my dad supposedly promised him. After I told him it wasn't a good time to discuss any of that, he wasn't taking no for an answer. P.S. I also know you stole the silver dollars and any cash that was laying around when they were on vacation, Dave. You piece of shit. If only Dave was the only one trying to get things out Tammy right after dad died. STG, someone who didn't know who I was, offered my stepmom's brother cash money for my dad's truck at the funeral while I stood right there. Freaking vultures. But that info is published. The cops are driving around too. Friend of mine from high school is a local cop. She says she sometimes uses addresses from a bits as points she needs to travel between during her patrol. Makes her beat different that day, I guess. But she also is a go the extra mile person. My dad is an attorney and had two clients, one who had an old huge Chevy Nova with a very well hidden switch under the dash. He would flip the switch and the brake lights off, then go in front of someone and hit the brakes. Won several claims from insurance companies. The second one was flying into small international airports carrying normal checked bags. Flew in from Canada every time, small puddle jumpers. Turns out what he was actually doing was smuggling immense amounts of cocaine. He refused to say a word to cops or in his own trial. Just pled out and went to jail. My dad gets a single check to pay for his service of sitting and doing the plea deal. About half of his normal yearly earnings. Turns out the guy was smuggling for Pablo Escobar and would have been killed if he talked. Many years ago, probably 20-ish, my dad used to own this company, and one of his employees died in a car accident. In the next few days my dad received the work logs and books and things that this guy would have kept with him, and that's when my dad realized this guy was doing offline transactions, what they had to do when a client needed something after hours. I'm not exactly sure how it worked, it was something to do with the physical receipt layout, but he would overcharge X amount for the item, get to work, and input Y amount paid. And have the correct receipt, and pocket the difference. He had been doing this for years and years, and my dad didn't realize. Not exactly the smartest, but he was never caught. My dad decided not to say anything to the family or anything like that. Receipt doubling, very common in restaurants that had paper orders. I was an assistant manager at a little deli slash corner store for a few years, and one of the employees bragged that he was getting a bag of weed a week from the store for free. Not to me, but to other employees. I couldn't figure out how, the numbers always matched up. He was also really successful with one of our couponing programs. It took me a while to figure out that our POS system would take the coupon without the UPC being scanned. In other words, the coupons were essentially cash. He was cashing out about $80 a week in coupons. The kid was pretty smart. I only found out when I was doing the inventory and the books the same week. I saw that we sold a ton of ice cream and thought geez I'm gonna have to restock the crap out to that, then realized that it was fully stocked and put two and two together. Long time ago, friend of mine used to be in a professional car thief group. They would steal 70s to 80s model cars and trucks, strip them down, repaint slash decorate then sell them. The state next to this had this weird thing where, if a car was wrecked, it went to the junkyard, but the title was never marked as totaled slash destroyed. It's been changed, so they would go buy these wrecks for next to nothing, get a clean title, swap the VIN, scrap the wreck at a metal yard, sell the new leaving car at normal price to regular people. When I asked what made him quit, he laughed and said the local district attorney. Turns out the DA was looking for a Camaro for his wife and said buddy had a newly, minty fresh one with low miles for sale. DA along with his sheriff buddy knocked on friend's door to take it for a test ride, at which point said friend shit his pants. Not only was the Camaro hot, the other car in his garage 3 feet away was in the middle of a rebuild, and the truck out front had just been picked up. He was 100% convinced he was screwed beyond belief, but they took the car for a spin, loved it, and paid cash for the Camaro. Friend had a come to Jesus moment, saw the error of his thieving ways, took everything automotive at his house to the scrapyard, then went and bought a legit car, all that very day. Oh god. There just seems to be two paths with this that I can think of. One is the DA going to the sheriff and convincing him to come along to buy a car because he doesn't want to get scammed or overcharged by a single penny, and hey, maybe we could even get a discount. Or the second one being the DA and sheriff knowing they've got no proper evidence and just going to absolutely fuck with the dude, having zero probable evidence the car was hot, but getting a great discount on it and just like ignoring the crimes temporarily. If I remember the story correctly, it was option number 1. The sheriff knew his way around cars better than the other guy. My old boss was a major thief with 2 of his close friends in my small city. They all worked normal jobs at areas where they could talk to people, waiting tables and things like that. Every year, when Christmas or another break-like holiday, they would case out frat/sorority houses, and while everyone is seeing family, they'd clean them out. Would go by storage units and look for things like cigarette butts around them and assume people probably practice playing music and store instruments there. Since clearly they're there often enough to hang around and smoke. One of them got pinched when he tried to sell an expensive guitar at a music shop, and it was the shop owner's stolen guitar. Thinking quickly, he said how he had bought the guitar from a guy named, let's say, Steve. Gave the cops all the info, since he had been working with Steve at the restaurant waiting tables. Well, Steve actually just died about a week before in a car wreck, so no charges on anyone. They had ATVs, motorcycles, every video game console, TVs, instruments, etc. When they were finally busted selling a 4-wheeler to a sheriff's daughter, the other detective who investigated Steve told them that was a pretty clever idea, sending them after a dead man. Then they all went to prison for about 4 years. Verdict: you're smart, but stupid, LMAO. I'm not a cop, but my friend who worked at Best Buy used to do a pretty clever scheme. It's kind of fucked up, but we were in college, and our moral code wasn't exactly honorable at the time. Usually during the holidays, there is a deal where, if you buy a certain TV, you get a gift card, something like $10 to $20. This wasn't really heavily advertised, but a salesman would likely tell this to a customer to get them to buy a TV. Well, this my friend wouldn't tell the customer. He would just sell the TV and pocket the gift card. However, he knew that each gift card was scanned and tied to that customer's transaction and him, since he sold the TV. So, what he would do is wait until he had a few cards and then get into a coworker's computer session and buy one large gift card using the smaller gift cards. Now he could use the larger card for whatever purchases he wants without it really being tracked back to him. Never got caught, and I was always impressed he could pull this off. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. More videos coming soon.